Facebook now, and I'm going to press record on Zoom. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's really well. Kylie and I are so excited to be here for bite-sized conversations where we're sharing random tips, thoughts, and business ideas, I think. How are you, Kylie?
I'm great, thanks. How are you? I just realized that I can't.
Amazing day.
Sorry. Hi, Jenny. I'm great. I'm amazing. I love Friday morning, and it's good to see you again.
It's nice to see you too. This is such an exciting topic today because all week I've been thinking about this idea about how we share our content, because last week we had such a great discussion around how to put the you back in business. And today it's how we actually share that story and connect with people, because that's what you and I really love to do, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. We're all about the connections.
And so today, tell me what's happened with you this week. Tell me something that's been going on with you the last week.
Well, I've had a fantastic week, but yesterday I taught a 4-hour workshop that was all about Instagram and Facebook, etc., and how they can work together. But the fun, exciting part for me was towards the end. Their homework for their 4 hours next week was to work out their story pitch. So we're, obviously there's many different ways that you can tell your story, but this one in particular is story pitch. So where you're, the problem that you had before you started, what you did to solve it, where you're at now, and then sharing that story. So I was just working through that with people yesterday, and then they're going to be bringing it back next week to the rest of the workshop. And then we're putting a graphic with it, and then we're putting it out on social media via Creator Studio so that it can go out to Facebook and Instagram, and then showing them how they can use that as evergreen content. So on repeat, every month in a different Facebook group somewhere. So the reason I was excited about that is because it's very similar to the topic that we're talking about today.
It is. And what I love about the work that you and I do is so often we have these conversations about how do I share my message? How do we spend so much time crafting our story and crafting our content and finding ways to kind of really share and give value to the world. And then we think, how do I actually connect with people using that content? Is it written in the right way? Am I using the tools in the right space? And that's the conversation I think everybody just needs to get clarity on. So I'm so excited that you're going to share a little bit about that today, aren't you?
Yes, I am. So our topic is, as you said, how do I share my story with others so I can connect with my audience, etc. I wrote etc. but the etc. bit connecting with my audience, and but also to my dream clients and all the people that I would one day want to work with, not just the followers that I have now. Because what we're always aiming for is getting people to be attracted to us so that we don't need to go out there and chase them. So getting them to, that little triple treat of know, like, and trust. We want them to show them what we're all about, what we'd be like to be working with us, etc., so that they know, like, and trust us, and then they want to book our discovery call or buy our products, etc. I'm using a lot of etc. today.
You are using a lot of etc. But I am loving that idea of that connection piece is not just about saying, hey, I'm here, and hey, it's actually about connecting with you on taking action and doing something with the work. So it's not just about sharing our content, it's about doing it in a way that actually moves them along their customer journey and moves them along the path from curious to actually, purchasing from us.
Yes, absolutely. And I was also talking with them yesterday afternoon about my favorite thing of the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time you're edutaining. So you're entertaining them. Yes. And I used the example of a rug shop. And I said, so if they were just telling us to buy a rug every day on their social posts, how bored would we get? What we want to know is we want to know stories about the rugs. Why did they choose to do rugs in the first place? Why have they got passion about rugs? But also tell us how to clean our rugs, how to do a bit of interior decorating, moving your rug around, etc., etc. I think I've used my rug analogy twice now, and I don't know why rugs are on my brain, but it just seemed to explain how you need to be giving value in so many other ways and taking people on that.
I love the idea of, sorry, the lag on our Zoom is terrible here. Brisbane to Bangalore is so far away. That the rug analogy I love, because not everybody thinks they need a rug, but if you start sharing all those tips and ideas and how it's going to make your house warm and all those kind of added value and benefits of having a rug, suddenly you go, maybe I really need a rug. So I love that analogy. I think it's a perfect one.
And also, Jenny, I might not need a rug today, but I might have been chatting to you and find out that you need a rug. So then I tag you in the post, and then that's new eyeballs on that post. And then you'll be following along with them as well.
Definitely.
You might be tagging somebody else, or you might be sharing it out to show your partner or something. So there's so many different ways that by sharing more than just the selling of a rug, but also then when the time does come for me to buy a rug, they've been on my mind because I've been enjoying their posts and particularly learning from them. So being educated and entertained, and then boom, they're in my mind. I buy the rug from them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we've got people saying, Christine and Maureen are both saying that they love that word, edutaining. It's one of my favorite words that you and I talk about, is that idea of education and entertainment combined. So it's more than just, that it is compelling. It's like watching that great Netflix series. You want to keep coming back to see what's next.
Isn't that a chronic problem? I was just talking to my daughter the other night that now we start the series and we don't watch anything else till we've finished it. And she doesn't know the pain of when you're waiting for the next episode the next week, or something comes up like a sport grand final. So they cancel it that week. And so you're waiting for a whole another week for the next little half-hour snippet. This is such a different world, isn't it? My goodness. So we're not really learning how to be patient anymore. Things are just there for us whenever we want them.
No, this is true. And do you think, actually, to that point, do you think that that's why some people really struggle with connecting on Facebook? Because they assume that if I do a post every day for a week, why aren't people purchasing from me straight away? Why am I not getting that endorphin hit of purchasing straight away? Because we're so used to now getting those instant gratifications through things like Facebook and being everything on demand. When you're going to Facebook and sharing information about your business and building trust and engagement, that does take some time. Now, for some people, it can be very short, but others it can take, there might be a long lead time so that they can demonstrate and build trust.
You are 100% spot on. The amount of people that come to me and say, I'm doing Facebook ads, I'm doing Google ads, why am I not selling out constantly? What is going wrong? And I'm like, well, just because you're throwing money at places, which to me is like throwing it down the toilet, if you haven't actually put the hard work in behind the scenes. So putting out a Facebook ad, if you still haven't got a call to action in your caption, for example, or a captivating graphic, then why are people going to take any more notice of it just because it's a sponsored thing that they are if it's an organic thing? So at the end of the day, you've got to absolutely work your content so hard and know your audience, know who you're putting your story out there to, and make what you're posting resonate with people. And in terms of just throwing it down Google, for Google ads, if you haven't been working your SEO and nailing your blog posts and you're making sure you've got your keywords and your images named correctly and all those important factors, then again, it's also just money down the toilet. So yeah, there's so much that we can be doing behind the scenes. And I would never recommend just putting money out there and just I've heard you use that analogy before of just where you just throw it at the wall and see if some of it will stick. So yeah, it's definitely that situation. But in terms of where you might be putting it in, Instagram fatigue and all that kind of stuff. So I always recommend that you write one piece of content. And that, for me, that would always be starting with a blog post. So where we do it with Hello Media is that on a Monday afternoon, I do a webinar on a topic of digital marketing. So this Monday, it was email marketing. And it's an hour long, and anybody's invited to come along. And then from that, we then turn that into a blog post, because of course it can be, we use Otter, but I'm sure there are many other transcription options out there. So the whole thing is then transcribed. From there, I can go in and so one of my team will upload it into Shopify and make it look all beautiful and make graphics that work with it, etc. And then I'll jump into Shopify and edit it all, put it in point form, etc., restructure it, and then off it goes out to the world as a blog post. From there, I create a newsletter, and which often isn't sent out. Mostly we have our newsletters go out on a Friday, but there will be a snippet of it in there, and then guiding people to the website if they want to read more. From there, we then create social posts. So minimum of 5 social posts from that one blog post.
Wow.
So by creating that one story, so it might be 5 tips to a great subject line for your email, or because some, you know, one of those type of topics. And for us, then it becomes all these other things that we can use, but also it becomes evergreen. We can use it again in 6 months' time, and in 6 months' time, or 3 months or less. I can also use it to post in other people's Facebook groups and say, hey, and if you want to know more about that, then jump over to the blog post, etc. Or I could turn it into a lead magnet and have it as a downloadable and get people's email addresses in return for giving them my little piece of magic. So lots of different ways to be using that one piece of content. So whether it's a content piece about my digital marketing webinar, or whether it's about my story that I'm sharing, you know, so one of the ones that I share fairly regularly is about how I was super discombobulated. Even though digital marketing is my business, there's just so much going on. So I'm no different to anyone else. Still scheduling that time to work on it in your own business, finding the time and the structure to put it all in place. And so in this one particular post, I explain how I then sat back. I created CEO Day in my business so that I could have one day a week where I work on my business. And then I could come up with like the Hello Visibility System, the Hello Media 5-step method to, you know, strategy and all those kind of things. And then no longer was I stressed, no longer was I discombobulated, because I had my strategies in place. And then I could go out and do a much better job in my business, become fully booked, etc. And forward planning, which is a big one for me, because I had those Hello Media strategies in place. So of course I can talk about that in a blog post. I can talk about that then out, it goes into a newsletter. I can use it in social posts over and over and over again. So yeah, sharing your stories in different ways. I can put it on Instagram, Facebook page, into Facebook groups. I can put it on my personal profile, and LinkedIn. So in our group coaching session on Monday, so once a month we bring in a guest speaker. And this week it was Carmen Williams, who's a LinkedIn expert. And it was fantastic, because I have to be honest, LinkedIn's an area that I ignore quite a lot because I don't find it fun. And that's definitely a not one of my things. Well, one of my issues is that if it's not fun, I often don't want to do it. So, but she really showed me the fun in LinkedIn, which was good. And she said, what, you don't need to put a different style on your posts just because you're in a more serious platform. No. Still show who you are. And I thought that's the best advice I've heard all week. Show who you are wherever it is that you're posting.
And I've been doing that. I have the images I use are generally not standard images. They're either kind of crazy looking kids or, you know, slightly awkward Lego men on skateboards and things like that.
I love it.
And so for me, that's the style that I like to use. So I use that on LinkedIn too, and I find I get really good engagement because it is a jarring image to the traditional button-down suit style images that you do get on LinkedIn. And I find I get better engagement when I have something a little bit different. Obviously, when there's photos of a group or people or us as well, also boost connection, because then people get to see us as well as listen and read our words. But that idea of being very authentic and opening, you know, the world up to who you are, rather than trying to be a different persona on each one. And we talked about that last week, about making sure that we're authentic and always showing up as our version, because otherwise, as you say, it becomes not fun anymore, and it becomes kind of difficult to say, how do I maintain a different persona?
Absolutely. So with LinkedIn, as soon as that kind of freed me up to go, okay, I don't need to adjust those posts. I'm just going to put it out there exactly as I am. And of course, that does a great job on LinkedIn too, as you said, because it attracts those people to you also. I've always been wary of not wanting to attract the whole corporate style, because that's not my area of fun. And so I'm making sure that I'm attracting the right ones to me. So if it's worked for me on Facebook and Instagram, why would it not work on LinkedIn? So yeah, I'm excited to really spend a bit more time doing that. So yeah, that'll be good.
What I'd love to know, Kylie, is particularly in relation to the how to connect. So you've had a chat about the different ways that we can use it. And I love that idea of just using your single blog content every week, and that becomes your theme essentially for the week. And that becomes your content generator for the week by using just one blog, which makes it, you know, time efficient, and it also allows you to share a really consistent message every week. But in terms of that connection piece, how do we make sure that when we write that content on social media and when we post it, that it becomes really compelling that people are interested. Because I went to a conference last week, as you know, with Something Digital conference, and I know the lovely Todd Pablo's on the chat today, and you know, with Factor gave me tickets to go see this amazing conference. And there was a guy there who was talking about the fact that creative is now, you know, one of the biggest multipliers and biggest gains that you can get with your marketing dollar. So it's not just about what you say, but it's about how you share it. And creative can be more than just imagery, can't it? It's the language you use and the way that you share that content.
Absolutely. Jenni, it all comes back down to your branding. So when you, and everything that I do, all with every single client, even if they think that they've nailed their branding, we always take it right back to the very beginning. So they might have a great logo, awesome. They might have chosen their colors, awesome. But what about the words that they use? What about the vibe of what they're putting out there, the type of personality? Because the personality for your business isn't necessarily your personality. No. So you need to have worked out what is the persona of your business and what's going out there to the world. So when you've worked that out, then you're also then going to be able to work out who are your dream customers and dream clients that you want to work with in the long run, not necessarily who have you got right now. You want to think about what kind of money do I want to be earning? What are actually my goals and why am I even doing this business in the first place? Obviously, we know, and we've had these discussions before, that a lot of people will say we're not in business to make money, but at the end of the day, we have to make money. That's how the world goes around. So, but we need to also work out that what do we want to do with that money? What do we want to earn? What do we want to be doing in 5 years' time? What's our end goal with the business? So all of those kind of things come around about the business. Then we think about what is it that we're going to go out and share? What type of posts we're going to do? What look and feel do they have? And it's so easy with things like even just straight on Instagram, but also using Canva, and change the filters of your photos so they all, have a similar feel to them, not a similar look, but it's certainly a similar feel. And we think about our words, and then off they go out there and try a post. And I just saw something last night that was so good, and it said something like, just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean it's not going to work again. And it reminded me of a thing that I'm often saying to people. If you've spent a lot of time on a post and you feel like you've absolutely nailed it and you loved it, and then nobody responded to it, it can be a little disheartening. But it could be a gazillion different reasons. You could post it again next week with a different caption, or post it again next week with a different graphic, or post it again next week at a different time. Try a different time of day, try a different platform. Maybe it's going to work better for you on Instagram than it will on Facebook. But then you can have a little look at the fact, have you asked people to do something? Have you given them a call to action in that post? Have you said, tell me your experience of that below? Or, that's probably a little bit long, but it could just literally be, does that resonate with you? Give me a thumbs up emoji in the comments if it does. It just can be something really little. You don't want to be doing clickbait, but you certainly want to be doing some kind of call to action that gets people stopping the scroll and engaging with you. So of course, that first line, particularly if there's some people that really do like to make a very long post, and that's not a right or a wrong, it's just their style, but make sure that that first line is very, very engaging.
I just got a fire truck driving past. There's actually a fire down the road in the cottage in Bentley, one of the old buildings, which is a bit scary. So apologies for the fire trucks out the window. But that piece around keep trying is what I love, is that it goes back to that point we made earlier, that we try it once, it doesn't work. So we go, well, Facebook doesn't work for me, LinkedIn doesn't work for me, Instagram doesn't work for me, Facebook ads don't work for me, because we try it once and assume that, the money's going to, the money doors are going to open and here it comes. Whereas thinking about our audience, and one of the things that you and I have talked a lot about, and I talk a lot with my guys in my coaching courses around, is who are you talking to and where are they at their location? It's not about us sharing our genius and how amazing we are. It's actually about saying, where are they at and what information do they need to help them move along their journey, whether it's from, I have an idea to maybe I'm curious, from curious to actually taking action, but how do we move them along that pathway or that journey, rather than saying, hey, I'm awesome, come and see me, come and buy from me. It's actually about saying, hey, here's a challenge that you might have. How can I help you? And did you even know that you had this problem?
Yes, absolutely. And so often what happens is that people say, we're just doing a post and we're not sure who we're doing it to. It's just to our audience. But that's like saying that you and I need the same thing at the same time. We don't. So thinking about who are those customers that you're actually speaking to, and trying to think of that, conjure up that, we call them different things. You and I'll think about it as a customer avatar. What's the words that you use for yours, Jenni, when you're thinking of that customer?
Oh, I kind of more think ideal client, or I say, who do I want my business to hang out with?
Yes, see, I love that. That's exactly right. So if you think of the 3 different people that you want to hang out with in the room, so not each post is going to go out to all those 3 people. So I might be writing a post to you because I know where you're at in your business. So I've already worked that out. Then my next post, the next time, the next day would be going out to my second person I want to be hanging out with in my business, or that my business wants to be hanging out with. So yeah, trying to make sure that you're not just always writing to the same one person that you think is your is your ideal customer. There's more than just one ideal customer out there, and they all have different needs.
And I think that's so important, because even I forget that sometimes when I'm putting my content out, that there are different people. And if I sit back and look at the different clients that I have, I've got brand new startups or hobbyists looking to, turn their side hustle into a business. I've got people who are really well-established businesses. And then I've got, high-end companies who've been around for 5 to 10 years who are looking to pivot. All their needs are really different. Now, fundamentally, the way I address them in the conversation we have is actually really similar. But from their point of view, their need and want and problem is different. So I actually, that just reminded me that I need to make sure I'm talking to all of those 3 people when I share my content, just as you do when you do Hello Media, whether it's your weekly groups of people who just want tips versus your deep dive masterclasses where they're really wanting people who want to actually learn and go through the skills and develop that knowledge.
Yes. So that's such a good point, Jenni, of the diverse range of people that you work with. So when you're doing a post that's geared to the solopreneur, for example, and you're talking about systems and processes, their systems and processes will be quite different to a company that's been around and, multi-million-dollar turnover with many, many staff members. So also you might sometimes be talking to a business manager or a marketing manager as opposed to the owner of the business. There's different ways of wording things and different voices that you're talking with, although always with the same vibe.
Very true. We do have a question. We have Ashley Griffin's asked, do you advise that you should put your price on your Facebook ad? Great question, Ash.
Can I just answer that, Jenni? Because I've seen Ashley's post going around recently, and I love what Ashley does. She's got an amazing business where if you can write down in the comments, Ashley, what the business name or what the name of that program is, because I've been hearing about it for a long time. I love the testimonials on it. And basically you get mindset. I think there's even some hypnotherapy in there. You get exercise classes, you get some group coaching, some one-on-one coaching, and it's this beautiful program that you do. It's to do with weight loss and just health in general. And I probably got a little bit wrong, but anyway, it's this beautiful package that she's doing, and very, very small groups of 4. But every time I've thought, how much is it? So not knowing, and then her message says, contact me if you want to know more. But I know a lot of people, I would be awkward to say, how much is it? And then if I felt it was out of my price range, or that it wasn't something that I could do right now, then I would be awkward, because then do you go back to them and say, it's not quite feasible for me at the moment. So removing the awkwardness or removing any kind of barrier to people making the next step is really important. So yes, I personally would always put the price out there of it. What are your thoughts on that though, Jenni?
It's a really good question. I actually think it depends on what we're selling. It depends on what the offer is, if you like. If it's something like a webinar where we're really, and the purpose is, and it goes back to me, the intention. So if we're looking at having a webinar, when really a webinar is about connecting with people, sharing some knowledge, building know, like, and trust, and essentially creating email addresses, that's what we're trying to do, is create engagement. So that's a free webinar. So very much saying, hey, it's a free webinar, come in, because then there's no barrier to entry. But if it's something like one of my other high-end mastermind programs, which is a couple of $1,000s, it's a 3-day deep dive where we take people away, putting that price on the ad would scare people off immediately, because you can't write, there's a payment plan, you can, there's a whole lot of conversation, because it makes the post really big. So the way I do it, it depends on what I'm trying to do. If the first conversation is, I just want you to move from, I'm not sure, to giving me your email address, then I would say, yes, it's free, go for your life. If it's a mid-range price, like, hey, it's a $49 half day or a $200 program, then that's a really good price to put because it's easy. When you start to get a higher end price, I actually think you need to change the content to describe, to say, hey, this is a really intensive program. It's 3 months, so much value. I'd love to chat to you about what it's going to work for you. And then the price doesn't become the challenge. It becomes around what it's giving you and the benefit rather than what it's going to cost me.
Jenni, beautifully said, and I totally agree. And I was thinking of a couple of different things as you were speaking and went, yes, that's right. Because had I seen that price on it initially, I wouldn't have even looked into it any further. I would have gone, right, that's not for me right now. But because I had that discovery call and I had little tasters of what I was going to get, and so I knew it was going to be massive, massive value for me upskilling in my business, then yes, I knew I wanted it at no matter what cost. And I would find a way because I knew that by doing it, it was going to help my business enormously. So I totally agree with you that as soon as it's a larger ticket item, that it's not at all beneficial to put the price on there because it will turn a certain amount of people off and not for the right reason necessarily.
And if I can add one really quick, if it's okay, what you can also do is you can, if it is a higher ticket price, say for example your program is, or not even high, but a mid-range price, say $500 to $1,000 over a period of months, you can simply start by saying it's only $20 a week. So you can change the language to say, well, yes, it's a $1,000 program over 3 months, but actually that works down to be 20 or 50. I'm not doing my math in my head, but whatever that price is. So you can simply put the weekly price. And then when you talk to them and say, actually, the way we pay it, it's a monthly fee and it's this much, but it actually only works out to be, a coffee a day. And that's why people use that analogy of it's only a coffee a day to change your business, or, spend $3 a day to boost your sales. So they do that language because it's compelling and it doesn't seem that much, and it actually makes the price irrelevant. It then becomes about the value and not about what it's going to cost me. It's what it's going to give me.
Yes, absolutely. Luckily, Ashley has let me know what it actually is. So that program that I was mentioning is called Weightless. And it's an online program for women who want to lose weight and gain mindset coaching with weight loss hypnosis. So I've seen some of the testimonials of people that have done it before, and it's literally a game changer. So I am super, super fascinated by it. But then, yeah, as I said, because the price wasn't mentioned on there, then immediately it makes me think it's going to be expensive. So that's probably just a mindset thing. I don't know if everybody thinks that way, but
and that's how cool it is, because we all have a different view. I love that Ashley's just put in a nice thanks, Mel, for sharing that it's $880. And because Ashley, after having a conversation with me with one of our sessions where we talked about charging what you're worth, it's $880. Now, Ashley, if that's over say 2 months or 3 months, then that's only like $50 a week or $80 a week, whatever it is. So if you say, and you want to put your price up and say, hey, change your life for $80 a week, that sounds pretty compelling to me, as opposed to change your life for $880. So we want to take price out of the equation, but we want to also make sure we do what you do, which is charge what you're worth, because you're 100% worth $880 for that program, because it is a phenomenal program.
Yes, I agree. So, and I totally agree with what Jenni just said about putting on that weekly price, because for some people coming up with 880 straight off the bat, especially if they're not even 100% sure it's the right thing for them, but giving them that payment plan, or even just the simplest little thing of, hey, it's $80 a week or whatever it is, that's great. And because then if you said to me that's $80 a week, I'd go, now if I did X amount of fitness classes a week and a mindset coaching session with you, actually that would be way more than $80 a week. So that's a deal. Yes, I'm in. So
exactly.
Yeah, helping people. But I think rather than also saying, message me, I would like to be booking a Zoom call with you to talk with you. So even though I know and love you, Ashley, and for those of you that don't know, Ashley's also a happiness coach and literally one of the happiest people you'd ever meet. She's adorable. But you could set up on Calendly. So you just have a link, then the people can click on the link through Facebook, through your message, click on the link. They can choose the time that works for them and for you, obviously, and then jump on Zoom together. So you don't need a website or a landing page or anything for it at that point. You just set up your Calendly link, and then I'd jump on the Zoom with you and we would talk about it. So I would then that's your, I'm not going to say sales pitch, but that's when you spend your time listening to my needs and then sharing how you can be the solver of my problem.
Yes. 100%. That I completely agree with. That discovery call and that engagement also immediately shows value, doesn't it? I get, whether it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, it's that time where I'm actually listening to you, sharing your ideas, and I can decide also as a salesperson or as a business owner or as the provider of the product whether I want to work with you as well. Because remember, at the end of the day, what we're doing is we want to create a tribe or a community or people around us that we want to work with, that we like, know, and trust as well, because we get to hang out with you. So that's why I use that language of who do you want the business to hang out with, because that discovery call gives you an opportunity to chat to someone and say, is this person my person? Are they going to be good for the program? Is the program going to be good for them? And sometimes saying no to a client is so powerful for them. It also shows them that they may not have that program for you, but if the waitlist program may not be for you, but you know what? Some happiness coaching by Ash is exactly what I need. So it allows you to create something for them and they feel so much more valued and their experience is incredible.
Yes, that's so interesting. And also what you're putting in that copy to get people in, because one of the things that has been a barrier to me signing up with Ashley, even though I know it would be super beneficial for me, is that, and I'm not sure if it's in the latest bit of advertising about it or the initial one, where it talked a lot about for women with anxiety. But I haven't, and you know, I feel very fortunate that I don't suffer from anxiety. So I thought, well, it's not really for me. All the other things in the program would be for me, but not necessarily that part. And I've certainly had, when I've done discovery calls with people about my group coaching, and they've said, but I don't really want to work on my website. I just want to work on all the other stuff. And so then I can, so initially that would have been a barrier to them signing up to the group coaching. But because we've been on that discovery call together and I can say, well, actually, I'm not going to be doing your website. What you're going to be learning is how to make sure that your website has fresh content every week so that it's getting loved by Google. You know, all those kinds of bits and pieces that is going to make a difference. So no matter what platform your website's on, that's irrelevant to me. It's the fact that I can help you get seen more and you know, therefore make more sales, get more bookings, etc. for the work on the back end on your website.
So amazing. So I'm just kind of mindful that we've already been talking for 30 minutes. It goes so quickly each week. So where can people find you to do all those cool things that you've just been talking about?
hellomedia.team. So as in team, as in you and I just had a man here measuring up for something this morning and I had to give him my email address. He said .team and then .com.au. And I was like, no, just hellomedia.team. You could, of course, can connect with me on Facebook and all of those lovely places through the website's easy. And what about you, Jenni? How can people find you to work with and your new group coaching program?
Yeah, so the new group
coaching I'm in and I'm very excited about.
I know, I'm very excited. So we do a group coaching program, which, it's called the messy middle, because we all live in the messy middle of business, don't we? It's about how we navigate the highs and lows of business. So on socials, it's at Elephant in the Room AU, really simple, at Elephant in the Room AU. Or you can actually message me directly at jenni@eitrconsulting.com. We'll put the details in the message and also send those out to you. But the best way is through my socials and at Elephant in the Room AU.
Awesome, Jenni. And then let's remind them that there's a special deal that we're putting out there. If you want to do Jenni's group coaching and my group coaching at the same time, there's a super special deal for that. If you want to let us know, send us a message at Kylie Mowbray-Allen or Jenni Walke, and we'd love to connect. But we look forward to seeing you next Friday. And Jenni, can you let everyone know what our topic is for the day?
Oh, now you put me on the spot because I always forget to write it down. We really need to get better at that.
Maybe Merlin can let me know in the chat.
I'm pretty sure we're talking a little bit more about business structure and business strategy next week. I'm pretty sure that's where we're going with the conversation. In the interim, what I would like to say though, remember that Kylie has her digital marketing conversations every week on a Monday afternoon, and we do these calls. And then I've got next Tuesday, we're talking actually about 5 mistakes people make when they write their content. So on Tuesday, we've got a webinar at 9 a.m. Brisbane time, so 10 a.m. New South Wales. It'll be through the Facebook Live, and we're talking about 5 reasons or 5 mistakes that you make when you write your content. So I thought that was a good conversation to have after today.
Great. And thank you, Merlin. She's one of my superstar team members. And she just wrote, yes, next week, November the 6th, the topic is how to prioritize what you do in your business.
Yes. How to manage all this, navigate all this mess.
Awesome. Yes, of the messy middle. I love it. And also for what do you call the beginning of the business, Jenni, if we've got the messy middle?
Other than, excitement, but I call it ideation. It's that kind of wonder stage where you get to kind of imagine what it's going to look like when the business is set up and grown, and you're in that kind of wonder and imagination phase. So I call it wonder, then the messy middle, and then that kind of keeps going forever until you sell the business.
I love that. That's wonderful. Wonder is wonderful. Thank you, Jenni. It has been so good to be here with you again today. I've loved that we've had so many people join us, some great questions there,
everybody.
And I look forward to seeing you all next week. And Jenni, chatting with you again on the Zoom is fun. Thank you.
See you later. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye.